Hey guys, Realtor Ranch here, and today we have a very important guest with us today, Mr. Kevin Godden from School District 34. He's been the superintendent steering the ship for the past 9 years, and thank you so much for being with us here today, Kevin. I know you're super busy, and we really appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure to be here. Glad to be able to tell you about some of the great things that's going on in our district in this very trying time.
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot of questions, and it seems a little bit of uncertainty from the parents out there about what the rest of this school year looks like and even moving forward. I'd love to hear about what you and your team are doing to adapt to the situation.
Well, it was, I think COVID-19 caught us all by surprise, because I don't think any of us really realized just how quickly this was going to move and the impact it was going to have on school. But when the minister made the announcement on March the 17th that face-to-face instruction was going to be suspended indefinitely, we basically jumped into action. And we pulled our team together and began to kind of do some contingency planning. And it was driven by our principles that we had right in front of us. And the first one, of course, had to do with the health and safety of our staff and our families. And so regardless of whatever it was that we came with, we needed to adhere to and observe the recommendations by the provincial medical health officer about physical distancing, about universal precautions, hand washing, and keeping ourselves safe, and so on. So that was the first step. We needed to kind of make sure that that was in place. The second part for us was about how we were going to provide continuity of education, not just for I'll say the broad population, but really for in particular, what the ministry asked us to take a look at is what we were going to do to support the essential workers who are, doctors and nurses, people who work in the health sector, who are, putting out heroic efforts, but also needed childcare, particularly after spring break. So we needed to develop a plan to do that, and I'm happy to say that we've got that in place right now and are ready to go. And from there, what we've been trying to do is just to put ourselves in a space of working, helping our teachers to work remotely and understand some tools that they need in order to properly do that. And so that's part of the reason why we had we eased back in after spring break, because we needed some time to plan with our teachers. We needed to reach out to kids, and we needed to get our folks ready to build a plan, which really looks quite a bit different than what we had in place when we left for spring break. Wow.
You guys have a full plate?
Full plate. I mean, a bunch of our folks, I have to hand it to our principals, vice principals, teachers, and our managers. They have just been working at this nonstop. They've spent a lot of time in trying to get things up and running at the 11th hour to make this work. So it's by no means is it done, but they put a lot of time in since March the 17th to kind of pivot to make this work.
I was reading a lot of posts from friends and clients that they received phone calls from teachers in the last few days checking on, the well-being of the family and the well-being of the students. And I know that it was really well received. I know that the comments were very, very positive. It was a really, really nice gesture. And it's, commend you guys for all the hard work you're doing. Kevin, what does the balance of this school year look like and potentially moving forward into September for the start of the next school year?
So, I mean, I want to pick up on that piece that you just made about the phone calls. One of the things we're all reminded, and if you think, Ranj, about the teachers who you remember from high school, what you remember is not that they taught you how to do a quadratic equation. What you remember is that you had a relationship with them,
yes,
and that they cared about you and they cared about you as a person. And so, one of the things that we're reminded, out of this difficult circumstance is that the relationships that we have with kids are the most important thing, and that they will win the day. And so that's part of the reason why we tried to do that. The other part is, you can imagine the stress that's going on in a home right now. Think about the average home where parents had expected kids to be back at school, didn't expect to lose their jobs. They didn't expect to have this space where you're confined to your homes. And so in a lot of cases, learning and academic learning takes a bit of a back seat to the emotional well-being of our kids and of our families. And so to me, that's the most important thing going forward, is that we build on and create really strong connections with kids and find out just how they are doing, and find the space that we can work in individually. Because there's some homes where they just will not be able to do it, just given the stress that might be there. And there's some homes where they'll be good and they'll be ready to go. So that's the first part of our plan right now, is to find out where the family is, where the child is, and then build on a plan based on the circumstances that we observe. So if a family feels like they're ready to slowly ease back into some of that work, then we'll try to accommodate. And if they're not, then what we want to try to do is attend to their emotional, psychological well-being and find out how we can connect with them on a different level. So that will be the plan for the next little while. As it rolls forward, I think we're going to develop a little bit more, I'll say, rhythm in terms of what the work looks like. And so our teachers, I mean, they're pros at this, and they will adjust as needed based on the circumstances. But across the system, we're going to have a little bit more rhythm as we develop routines for families based on what their needs are. And the fact is, we just don't know when this thing is going to peak and what the other side of the peak looks like and what school might look like. So we are going to adapt as we go. The ministry has suspended classes for the rest of the school year. They've suspended them indefinitely. And so it could well be until the end of the school year, but we don't want to make any pronouncements yet until we get a better understanding of what May looks like. I am particularly concerned, for instance, I mean, I'm concerned about all of our students, but I'm particularly concerned, for instance, about our kids in grade 12. So think about that. These kids are at the end of a 13-year journey, and there are some rites and traditions and really special things that they had scheduled to go on. And I don't want to move too early to postpone or cancel any of those opportunities, because they're too important in the lives of our kids. And so we're going to go step by step. And when we get to that place where we have to make a decision, we'll do so thoughtfully, again, based on the health and welfare of the kids and what we think is prudent at that time. So, the important thing is for people to stay in contact with us as we go, because as it changes, we will post new information about how we're going to handle things. For instance, like report cards. Some parents are concerned about that. So, we'll have some things that we'll put out there in the days and weeks ahead, just to keep parents apprised of what's going on, and so they can make a decision about their family.
Okay. So, is there somewhere where we can go to stay updated in the coming days or weeks on what to expect and kind of what the plan of action is?
So we have a couple of ways of communicating with families. Of course, I just mentioned a lot of that information on a specific level will come from the teacher, but at the district level, we have the ability to send email messages out to every home. If you have an email address, we can send you a message. So that's one way that I've done that. The other one, of course, is to go to our website. We've tried to create a spot where all of that information is located. We've got a frequently asked questions page there, and we've got all the letters that typically have come from the ministry, also from the health authority, with up-to-date information on a daily basis that's updated. So I'll certainly give you that spot. That's where we keep all that information. I encourage parents to go and visit that. And also, if you have questions, to contact your school, because the information we have is broadly available, and it's across 46 schools. And a lot of the questions that parents have is about their own child's school and their own child's teacher and classroom. So in that case, you need to go to your school's website, or to email or phone your classroom teacher directly.
So are there any, I know you guys are working very, very hard and being diligent on preparing for the coming months. Do you guys have any tools at your disposal that you're planning on using that parents can kind of expect?
So you'll probably see that there's a number of district-approved resources that we have that we'll be rolling out and have been rolling out. And so, case in point, at the elementary level, one of the tools that we use is something called Seesaw. And right now, so if you're a grandparent of one of our kids and you happen to live in Ontario, you could actually use the tool to kind of step right into the classroom and see what your grandchild is doing in kindergarten, for instance, on the other side of the country. Wow. So that tool now is something that we're going to try to deploy a little bit more so that the teacher now can use that tool and perhaps either videotape a lesson or have a scheduled opportunity to give kids some challenges or some activities to do and then to check back in. The beauty of it is that if you have a device at home, you can actually do the assignment and then post it for the teacher to see it. And so, that's the kind of interactive tools that we will use. And that goes all the way through the system, where at our middle schools and high schools, you see more use of Google. And the same thing exists for you to post assignments or post video, and for kids then to complete the assignment in privacy of their home, and then in turn post it either in written form or in digital video form for the teachers to see. The teachers can then assess it, give them some feedback, and they can go back and continue to work on it. So for the most part, that's what the interaction will look like going forward. Also, I'll give you there's a ministry website which also has some resources. They've recently listed, again, just to help families in the interim identify some key resources and areas where you can look to kind of keep your kids engaged and be thoughtful in some of the things that's going on in the home.
Kevin, are there any, do you see any positive things arising from this current situation? It looks like you guys are really utilizing technology, but what are some of the positives that are coming out of this negative situation?
Well, I mean, I'll offer two. I mean, there's a lot of positives. The two positives I think that are emerging right now, I'll start with is the uptake of the use of digital devices, right? So we have seen some of the tools, like the ones I just described to you, the uptake on them has been much higher as people begin to kind of utilize them and realize the strength, the power that they have, and that they can actually multiply or amplify the kind of relationship that you want to be able to build while in some cases keeping physical distance. That's the first one. I guess what to me the other one would be is the heartwarming part of all of this is been watching some of our teachers reach out to kids in very heartfelt, thoughtful, compassionate ways. One of them that comes to mind is a couple of teachers they spontaneously wrote a song and used it to welcome kids back to school from a distance. And told them that they cared about them and they're looking forward to connecting again in a different way. The other one, of course, is as you can imagine, there are a whole bunch of kids in our system who don't have the benefit of technology, don't have Wi-Fi, and it's an important challenge and for us as a system to find ways to make sure that we are equitable. In the mission that we have, in the school district is for all kids, regardless of what your postal code is. And so what's been really cool for me is now discovering the really interesting and creative things that our teachers are doing to reach out to families that don't have the technology, to find creative ways to get to create some contact with them, to give hope to them, and to give them some opportunities to continue their learning. That's one of the reasons I'm really proud to work in the school district, is because I see things like that kind of remind me about the importance that our education system has into our kids.
So Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today and to help spread the word to many parents about what to expect moving forward. I know you and your team are working super hard. So on behalf of all parents, I wanted to extend you a very thank you from the heart. Very, very grateful for everything you guys are doing. I imagine it's not easy on you guys. I remember you telling me last night, there's not a template for this. This is something that you guys are creating. So, hats off to you guys, and thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. And, one of the messages I shared with our staff is the pride I have in working for Abbotsford School District is this can-do spirit that we have. Yes. And so, with it comes a great degree of hope that we'll get through this and we'll get on the other side of this, and we'll rise above these difficult times. So thank you so much for inviting me into the conversation.
Awesome, Kevin. Take care.
All right, you too.